Hello and welcome to Dave's Model Workshop. Today I'm going to be showing you 3 methods for painting realistic wood finishes in plastic and wood. It's best for 1/35th scale, and there's 3 methods. So if you're anything like me, this is what your wooden boxes or your natural wooden things look like when you've painted them straight from a kit. It's not terribly convincing, and obviously there's room for improvement. Well, have no fear, let's go. First method is the method I use to paint wooden crates and boxes. It's perfect for kit parts that are different coloured plastics, and they give you a result like this, quite a realistic wood texture. So the first step in this method is to paint your item a light yellowy buffy colour. So I recommend either dark yellow or a sort of enamel buff from Tamiya. And there's nothing special, it is just a matter of painting this so that it's covered with paint. I'm not going to go through the details of that, I'll show you what it's like in a second. So here we go, we've got the smaller box that I've painted in the yellow colour. I also have a slightly larger crate that I've painted with a different shade of yellow. The beauty of this technique, play around with it, it works really nicely with different shades. And I've got here some oil paint. So the paint that I'm using is burnt umber, and you can use Van Dyke brown as well. It all works quite nicely. The trick is you want to get it to a consistency where it's not too wet, but it's not too dry. I know that sounds ridiculous. You want a consistency where it'll go on quite thin. It's not going to glob on too thick, but you also don't want it to be really wet that it just, it's like a wash. That would be the last thing you would want. So let's have a look and see how this is looking. So that's probably a bit too thin at this stage. You can see how it's more of a wash than anything. The beauty of the oil paint in this method is that once we put the oil paint on, we've got time to work, so it doesn't dry too fast. So that's what I meant about you wouldn't want to wash. If you had a wash, it would dry really fast, and you don't want that. You want it to have enough texture to hold up to the next step, which you'll see in a second, but not so much texture that our next step doesn't work. So that is about perfect, and we'll leave it for 5-10 minutes to dry. I'll do the other sides, I'll do the other box, leave it for 5 minutes to just cure a little bit, and we'll come back to it. Here we are, so here's our 2 boxes. Excuse me. So I've done one in Van Dyke brown and one in burnt umber. As you can see, if you look at it right now, you go, yeah, that's not exactly great, Dave, what are you showing me? Here is the magic bit. Get yourself a paintbrush, my goodness, a paintbrush that's got fairly stiff bristles, like that, and it's got fairly beaten up bristles, and this is going to give us the wood grain. So the beauty of the oil paint is that when you're doing this, you scrape it along the oil paint, and that's where we get our wood grain texture. It's really cool. I'm going to try and hold this down with a scalpel blade just so I don't get my thumb fingerprints all over it. And there we go, that's where we get our wood grain. It's really quite enjoyable to do. You get a really nice distressed wood look to it. If you get too much paint clogging up your brush, just wipe it off on some paper towel and keep on going. Obviously try and move your brush in the direction that you want the wood grain to go. That's all my sides of that, so I'll take a photo of that close up in a second, and I'll get a bit of that paint off the brush on a paper piece of towel, and then same with my bigger crate here. Obviously you want to do this before your oil paints have dried, but that looks quite amazing, so I'll take a photo of that for you. I'll finish it up, take a photo close up, and you'll see what I mean. So there you have it. That's my first of 3 methods for painting realistic wood textures on plastic and for your model kits. Keep an eye out, the second and the third versions are going to be coming very soon in 2 extra videos. You should be able to see links on the page here once I have those uploaded, and in the meantime check out my blog, it's davesmodelworkshop.com. If you have any questions at all about this, give me a comment below, and yeah, chat to you next time. Thanks guys, bye.